So we are live. So welcome everyone. Welcome to another expert session number 113. I am Gustavo, co-founder of Evolve. Evolve is a global private network and operating layer connecting senior commerce leaders, advisors, founders, and operators across markets. And today, we are tackling one of the most powerful yet frequently misunderstood levers for scaling a business: partnerships. And today we have Redmond Orn. Redmond is currently Global Partner Enablement Director at Snipe, a developer-first security leader, and they focus on scaling partner ecosystem in DevSecOps. And before that, Redmond held leadership roles in partnerships at enterprise technology companies, including SAP, IFS, Oracle, and Cisco. And he's a strong advocate for go-to-market alignment, treating partnerships as a strategic growth engine rather than a standalone function. Redmond, very welcome today, and very happy to have you with us today. And to co-host this session with me, we have Martin Scholz, I dare say one of the best kept secrets in partnerships world. Martin is the founder of CEG Consult, where he helps companies build, repair, and scale partnerships initiatives to achieve capital-efficient growth. He's also the co-founder of Partner Experience Academy, one of Europe's leading training and certification programs for partnerships professionals. And Martin has more than 20 years of experience building and leading partnerships organizations at companies such as Searchmetrics, Uberall, and Usercentrics. So Martin brings us today a wealth of hands-on operational experience and practical insight to today's discussion. And to open our conversation, as we have in every expert session, Redmond, we have a controversial question, which is, most companies that invest in partnerships aren't really building a channel, but they're outsourcing a sales problem they never managed to solve internally. What's your take on that?
So it's a very tricky one, this, of course. What with it being a controversial opening question, I guess you probably want me to come down on one side of the fence, don't you? So look, in every organization that I've ever joined, whether it be a small one or some of those big brands that you've mentioned in the past, the partnership motion is always far from perfect. Okay. These partnership motions are always underfunded. They're underrepresented, and from that perspective, I think senior leadership teams in all these organisations, they always feel that channel should be able to somehow perform at a level that is proportionally greater than their own account execs. Okay, if channel was given the same level of funding as the internal sales function and the field-based sales function, then in theory it would be much more performant, because the partners obviously hold the relationships far better than the account execs actually do. Okay, so in order to answer your question, companies that invest in partnerships, they are building a channel, but they pull it as a lever, especially to scale and grow in a way that they couldn't do it normally themselves. Okay, so yes, they are outsourcing a sales problem, because the incremental addition of sales performance for every additional one account exec that you add after a certain point stops making sense. You're on a curve of diminishing returns, and the only way to get that linearity back or close to that linearity is to introduce a channel.
Great. Martin, do you have what's your take on that also?
I think my first impulse is partnerships is not channel. Partnerships is not only channel. companies who are looking at partnerships and consider that being reseller or channel are very blindsided, in my personal opinion. There are a lot of partnerships which have massive efficiency gains for the go-to-market outside the referral or reseller game. Number two, the helping that someone else sells your shit which you can't sell is simply, let's say, very optimistic to be polite British and not say Germanly stupid. There's a saying, you can't partner out of an immature product and you can't partner out of an immature go-to-market. There might be edge cases where if your product lives in a very established ecosystem, let's say you are a startup which is living in the HubSpot world, you're like an extension plugin, you might be able to get system integrators, also HubSpot partners, to give you feedback, like a condensed feedback, which you otherwise would need to get from 10, 15 clients. You could ask one integration partner to give you product feedback to increase your product market fit or go-to-market fit. But ultimately, for 9 out of 10 or maybe 99 out of 100 companies, the rule for me is product market fit, go-to-market fit, partner market fit. Only if you know how to go to market, you should look for partners to increase the efficiency of your go-to-market. And I think having a channel, like someone else selling your shit for you, I think it's like the CRO's wet dream. It's not going to happen. If you can't get your own sales team to sell it, why would someone else? So for me, the precondition is you cannot outsource a sales problem. What you can do, you can improve the efficiency of your marketing team. You can improve the value perception your product has by partnerships. You can, work with reseller, with referral partner or co-sell partner to get to that more efficient sales cycle because they have access to the clients, they have trust, da-da-da-da. And what you do is you expand your sales capacity if you are really capable to make reselling work. But be aware, reselling is like Champions League of partners. No partner starts as your channel reseller. It's usually a development from, hey, build trust with referral, do some co-sell, and maybe after a couple of deals, when the motion is working, they say, well, thank you, don't have to send your AE, I'm capable to do it. So long short, if you can't sell your shit yourself, no partner will fix it for you. Why would they? But they can help you to increase the efficiency of your go-to-market. That's for sure.
Great. Yes, and I coming from partnerships and seeing partnerships for so long, I always keep seeing, as you said in the beginning of your answer, that partnerships it's not only channel sales, because what I still see in a lot of conversations around partnerships and groups and etc. and people from everywhere in the world, it's basically partnerships, basically channel sales. And I come from strategic partnerships most of my life. Did a bit of channel, but and then I can see, I can feel this difference as you say, and a lot of other types of partnerships. Because one of the things, and I'd like to pick you both brains on that, is that I think people just look at partnerships, in my opinion, in the beginning as a sales solution, or to sell, or to go to market, or to open the doors for clients and etc.
Yeah.
But you have a whole bunch of other ranges of partnerships that you can bring to the company, or that your company can build and understand, that can be sometimes much more valuable than just building a channel partnership sales, or building strategic partnerships to sell something, to sell a new product, to sell a new co-marketing product, and etc. Because you can build. I worked for some time. We could cut, for an example, like 6 months or almost a year of development team by building a partnership with another company to have those products. And we were not talking only about sales, but we were talking about solving a development and development roadmap problem, at least for some time. So I think, summarizing what I'm saying, is that I think that companies are only looking at sales when they want to think about partnerships. but they could look and they should look the whole company and understand where I can use partner, where I can find a partner and take advantage of that, because you can have partners that will help you spend less, and this will not sell you. But at the end of the day, at your P&L, this can look very good.
Yeah, so a lot of organisations they pull that partnerships lever because, as I mentioned before in my previous utterance, they want to maintain that sales velocity, but they want to reduce their customer acquisition cost and other things like that. But they don't quite understand that it's more than just sales as a function. So, in my experience, one of the last companies that I contracted for about a year ago, as a partner program manager, I counted 7 distinct lines of business that I was connecting into in order to make that project work. Sales, pre-sales, those are the obvious ones, but the ones that aren't so obvious are legal and finance and all these other things. So there's that connective tissue there that has to be built. And what's interesting is that senior leadership, they don't quite understand that the whole organization has to pivot into, and they have to lean in to channel in order to make it a success. It's not just a sales function, it's not just a marketing function, it's everything, product and product marketing, product management as well, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of success riding on a partnerships motion. And another area I think that they need to show and demonstrate that they're ready for this is to actually figure out where does that channel function actually report into. So in a lot of occasions, I've seen channel functions reporting into the senior sales director or the VP of sales or something, who's risen through the ranks or has a career in direct selling, and doesn't really understand the metrics that channel or partnerships programs actually live and die by. And they're very, very used to measuring their own direct sales capabilities and transferring those metrics onto some kind of a channel or a partnerships model. And surprise, surprise, those don't work anymore, because lots of people on this call know that there's so much influence going on in the channel, and you can't measure that. And those don't get surfaced in PRMs, partner relationship management, and they certainly don't get surfaced in channel relationship management tools, also customer relationship management tools. So as a consequence, going out into the market and saying, oh yes, we're 100% channel focused or 100% partner focused, means that you have to change, you have to pivot as a business. And a lot of organizations that I've spoken to recently, and in fact going back over the last 5 years, they miss that subtle nuance. And so to Martin's point, that's why a lot of these partnerships fail, is because the organization needs to change first.
I would like to add a couple of things here. First, Redmond, you naturally swifted channel and partnerships kind of synonymously. I would like to distinguish on 2 things. Number one, regardless of which partner type you're driving, whether it's technology partners, integration partners, OEM partners, implementation partners, whatever you call it. And by the way, we don't have standing definitions. I absolutely agree. You will touch every business. Partnerships is always touching every business. At one point, you need legal, you need accounting, you need RevOps to work with you, and because it is literally an evolution of the go-to-market. So all teams will be affected more or less at one point. It's interesting that Gustavo, you said, like, if you talk to people, they always consider partnerships equals channel. That's because you naturally talk to go-to-market people, sales or revenue side of things. I recently had a podcast with Christina from Panium. Panium is providing integration as a service. She's on a product side. She naturally considers partnerships being integrations and technology partnerships. So whenever you talk to a product person, they naturally deviate to integrations, while the revenue leaders automatically deviate to tend to look at channel side of things. So I can only remind you that you need to be mindful about the bubble. There's a bubble outside which completely understands partnership being tech-driven. product driven, integration driven, API driven, MCP driven. That's super critical. The second thing is channel is not even defined. What do we mean by channel? Is that the good old distributors? But that was when we distributed things physically. When we put software on floppy disks or CD-ROMs, put them in card boxes and ship them around the globe. That was wholesale. That's not different than shipping bananas. By now, we are SaaS. We do not ship. We do not sell. What we do in SaaS, we grant licenses. So there's no physical movement of goods. There's no physical transfer of ownership. So that changes the dynamics between the channel and us. So really, that is a lot of things where people struggle. And coming back to your point, Redmond, that people think about channel, but they look at the HubSpot and Salesforce and Adobe and Sun Microsystems of the world. Those partners who drive significant new business have actually started as implementation partners on the post-sales side. And that's something not a lot of companies today can offer because their software is wonderfully plug and play. So they still hope somebody else brings them business without knowing or having something to offer, or don't even think about it. And very long answer to that. I can only remind everybody, guys, don't look at channel and hope that they bring you new leads. Look where they can probably help you to keep the customer, adopt them, implement them, service them, deliver additional services which make the customer happy, stay longer. Because if you make it in year 4 in a SaaS company, retention and expansion drives way more impact on your growth than net new logos, which you may win on the sales side of things.
Yeah, totally agree. And I think this is a very good leading to the next question that I have, which is I can see that, and I will probably have, I think, two different perspectives here. So why do early stage companies, I wouldn't frame that this too early stage, because a lot of huge companies and corporations do also that. But why do companies, let's frame them all together, sign dozens of partnerships and activate almost none of them? So Redmond, can you give me the point of view of an enterprise, a corporation, because I've seen corporations having, for an example, as a KPI for partnerships, so new partners, new contract signed, but new partnership contract signed, but with the partner, and then, but when you would see that organization, you said, okay, so you will sign 30 new contracts with partners in a month, and what you'll do next, because you have no one to. So the company is treating like partnerships as just sales, and as you said in the beginning, metrics are different. But sorry, getting long into that. But why do you think? So what do you believe companies sign a lot of partnerships, contracts, but they are unable or they don't activate them through the reminder of that contract?
So I think you actually, I mean, the best point to my answer was something that you mentioned a moment ago, which was based around KPIs and measurement. So senior leadership in a lot of scaling SaaS companies, they like to be able to measure things. If they can't measure it, they can't manage it. And so they tend to gravitate towards the things that they can measure the easiest. And if you've got a binary outcome, the partner signs the contract or they don't. So you can measure that very, very easily. So as a consequence, the partner rep or potentially the dedicated partner recruitment rep gets given a target. Bring me 10 net new partners this year, something along those lines. One cadence of roughly once a month. It's probably what most partner recruitment reps get given. And so, at the end of the day, you're baking in a pure sales function into your partnership role there. So you look at where the compensation is driving the behavior. You are paying somebody commission to recruit a partner. They don't really care what the quality of that partner is, where's the alignment, where's the fit. Okay, they just need to get partners in through the door in order to make it to their number at the end of the quarter, end of the year, whatever it is. Okay, so lots and lots of effort is put into signing the contract. Everybody pats the partnership contract. Everybody pats themselves on the back once that gets done. To my mind, that's when the real work starts. But unfortunately, a lot of organisations, that's when they take their foot off the gas. So you've got that issue on the side of the vendor, and then you've got the other issue, which is on the side of the partner, and that is they've signed you up, or they've signed a contract with you. You are one of half a dozen, maybe a dozen different vendors, and they probably have very good, mature trading relationships with your competitors or people that are adjacent to you or whatever. So there's an inertia there because they've already got revenues coming in, whether that be from a resale motion or whether that be from a support and maintenance perspective, whatever that looks like. So you are now on the fringe of their wallet share and hence their mind share. You then go to them and say, right, in order for you to be certified on our partner program, you've now got to sit through training and enablement, and you've got to take 2, 3, 4 guys off your bench, out of your consultancy pool, where they might be charged out at $1,500, $2,000 a day or thereabouts, and that now all of a sudden becomes a cost. So you can see automatically straight off the bat, there's quite a lot of friction there in terms of getting them onto their agreed certified metal tier or however that's going to look. And what's interesting for me at the moment is that there's a lot of vendors out there that are now actually trying to remove that friction by making their activation, their onboarding, their training, their certification processes a lot more partner friendly. So they're stripping away a lot of that upfront cost, whether that be actual or implied, okay, to try to get partners to a level where they could potentially identify what the ideal customer profile for them looks like and go out and actually activate campaigns that are hopefully going to generate some kind of value that they themselves can point to within that vendor, and do that at the lowest barrier possible, because otherwise, to Martin's point, 80% of partnerships are going to fail.
Yeah, Martin, can you give your perspective on
Redmond pointed out quite a bit, but I would kind of nail it down a bit and say, number one issue is that leadership doesn't know what good looks like, and from sales they know signed contract is a good KPI, so they target somebody on signing contract. That is the first mistake. The second mistake is that why is it so? Because they don't understand that sales is transactional and partnerships is collaborative. There's a distinct difference in the nature of the relation. Right, when you said they focus on signing and then they forget and take the foot off the gas. It's exactly the other way around. The third thing is I always joke there's only one legal document I sign faster than a partner agreement. It's a mutual NDA. If somebody gives me a mutual NDA, I don't even read it because it's mutual. And I don't care, there are no consequences anyway. The partner agreement is literally the next in line. Because if I can sign it, nothing hurts. If nothing happens, nothing hurts. Nothing bad will happen to me. There's not this hygiene factor like in sales where you do have a transaction. In sales, you transact the value against money. In partnerships, you agree to build the value together. Or you don't agree to build the value together, nothing will happen. So that is the biggest problem in partnerships. So when I teach partner managers in the academy, I said the biggest risk for you guys, you recruit the wrong partners. Too many and the wrong ones. So it's absolutely mandatory to be super strict in disqualifying any new partner. And really, and we developed the methodology of the 4 C's on disqualifying potential partners. In sales, it's a mind shift there when you learn that, or when you understand you need to disqualify your prospects, because the ones who will not sign in the end will be a waste of time. And partnerships is worse. They will sign because it doesn't hurt them, and you invest your time and they will never, ever deliver the results. So you need to be doubling down on the selection. And the second thing is, why don't these people get activated? There are 2 things. Number one, most don't have a really clear value purpose. Why should I even care? I don't give about your commission. I don't care. These 10%, 15%, whatever you offer me, yeah, it's nice, but honestly, it doesn't move the needle for me. My business is somewhere else. The second thing is, we make it super hard for them to be enabled. Redmond, you said like certification, blah, blah, way too much. They don't have time for that. What is the minimum you can ask a new partner to invest to see the first results, the first success? With that first success, you buy yourself the next hour of their attention. Don't send them your 5-hour onboarding program. Don't make this 1-hour product demo. They don't need that. If you want them to make introductions, they only need to understand what is your pain point you solve, what does your ICP look like, and what are the 2-3 trigger questions where they could bring you in. That's it. Any minute they spend in your onboarding is a minute they cannot work on that day-to-day job, which is not your partner. It's somewhere else. So this is kind of the aggregation of why so many of my clients say, oh, we have 100 partners. I say, no, you don't have 100 partners. You have 100 signed agreements collecting dust on the shelf or taking up space on your Google Drive. Tell me how many deliver. And you know what? The number of the partnerships who actually deliver, 20% is amazing, 10% is good. Usually it's 5% or less. From 100 partners, 5 have been bought more than 1 lead, if we talk about channel and referral. That's crazy. 95 of 100 have been useless waste of everybody's time.
Yeah, totally agree with that, with what you both said, and I like to tell this one every time. Yeah, but well, audience is rotation, so is rotating. So once we had a huge partner program for agencies, and we had like more than 300, almost 500 agencies there. But at the end of the day, we had always the usual, let's say, 100 tops suspects that were the agencies that were actually working. And if we could narrow it more, we would have like always the usual 50 suspects. And as Martin always says, it's not about you, it's about the partners. So once the team was thinking, oh, let's raise the commission for the agencies. Let's see if we can engage more people and etc. And then we said, okay, so let's do a poll with the partners. Let's see what's more important for them. And yes, commission was like number 3. So they needed more access. They needed better support. They needed better training, and that was that. So when we talked with them, they said, yeah, commission is good, but especially in SaaS, if we're seeing SaaS, it's always like 20%, 30% tops, let's say. But of a subscription of 100, 300, even though it's 1,000, that doesn't move the needle or change the day of anyone. So it's actually looking at the partner needs, right? What they need, so how you can help them, but using your solution. That would be also my take. We have a question here, so let's get one question from Carlos. Carlos saying that partner activation. Before that, I agree totally with Redmond. Once you sign the partnership contract, then it's where you start the actual work.
Yeah,
that's really fun. The negotiation of a contract is nothing compared to the work and to activate that partner properly. And we have the question is connected with that. So Partner activation is hard. How to properly activate partners?
Yes, it is very hard. So we've talked a little bit about this so far on this panel. It's about trying to get their engagement and keeping it. So you need to make sure that the content that you put in front of them is short, it's succinct, and it is highly relevant. Okay. You know, I've worked for companies in the past where they've wanted to put you know, onboarding, stroke activation, stroke enablement packages together for partners that stretch anywhere from, you know, sort of 90 minutes all the way up to 2 weeks. Okay. And there's pros and cons of each. And, you know, to Martin's point, it depends upon how good your relationship is with that partner and how invested they are in. But certainly to start off with, you know, you literally want to have a minimum amount of content in order to get them started. The other point I would make is don't treat every partner the same. Yeah. So by that, what I mean is think about that content I was just referring to, try to modularize it. Yeah. And put it in front of partners. And one of the most effective situations I had was by basically laying it out a little bit like a buffet and saying to a partner, right, I don't expect you to have to go through all of this. You know, you guys are at a different position than the chaps down the road. So you decide what you want. Yeah. You figure out, but at the end of the day, after 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever it is, this is what I expect from you. This is where I expect you to be. So these are all the tools, these are all the resources, this is all the content. We're going to be grown up. Yeah. Either you do it or you don't do it. Okay. And if you do it, great. If you don't want to do it, then we can assume one or two things. You're either not interested or you know all this already and you're going to be a great partner. So from my perspective, it's not, don't push everybody through the sheep dip, because otherwise it just ends up alienating people and burning cycles.
I have to say, I do in this point really disagree to a significant extent. So number one, I guess there's a huge difference whether you have somebody like Oracle or SAP in your back and you're living on the brand, and the partners already like knowing it's working, they see the competitors working and they're more, you know, convinced that they want it. So you can ask more. The power shift is different than if you are a startup and you don't have a brand and you need to, you know, build the trust of the power shift first. So you said like take it or leave it, and you know, here's what I want in after 90 days. Get there, you're adult. Well, that's the position of power. If you are the startup, you need to make sure that come back to that, make sure that you understand their business, that you understand how you help them to achieve their goals. If you don't help them to achieve their goals, they will not spend it. They will not spend a single minute on you. So make it as easy as possible. So don't make them think. Don't let it be free and all. I've been clients that in Notion page, 40 pages Notion, everything was in there. Please help yourself. Screw you. I don't want to think about where to start. Please, you tell me the next 3 things I should do. So I would, my very, very passionate vote is understand or make sure that the partner does see the value you promise him to deliver. Make sure that he understands why it's cool for him to work with you. Then make it as easy as possible. Take actionable steps, give the recommendations. So typically what I would recommend is ask them, hey, Gustavo, what is a good, what happens, you know, imagine it's the 4th of June, 2027. What happened in the last 12 months that you say, thank God that we took this call with Martin 1 year ago and start the partnership? Let them think about what they want to expect. Because if they have no clear idea what success looks like for them in a partnership, how would you be able to fulfill it? It's a very strong position to say, well, if you don't do this for me, I'm disappointed. That's a power position of power that you can do for your Oracle. If you have SAP and you have 50 other partners lined up. If you start from scratch, you better take the other position and say, what can I do that you want me to want to stay my partner? And then it's like, how easy can I do it for you? Can I get 30 minutes of you, or 20 minutes? Is it 50 minutes I can get from you? And by the way, be careful and mindful of who do you want to activate. My big mistake in the beginning, and well, we made a 4-hour session with the guy who signed the contract. The guy wasn't the person who said it. It doesn't the person who services it. Who is not the person who implements it. So we called everything to the completely wrong person. So instead of talking to your partner person, ask who would be the best partner in your team to educate. Don't go for trying to get the full sales team or CS team in the room. They will play Clash of Clans. They will look on TikTok, whatever. They will not listen to you. Ask your partner person, who's the 1 or 2 champions, the 1 or 2 hungry persons who can become my evangelist within your team. Make those people look good, the others will follow. So these are the things how you activate a partner successfully, not building big programs, not building a menu. That doesn't work if you're a startup, 100%. So niche down, pick your models, make sure that they see the benefit, make them look good. If they look good, they come back, there will be more, they will bring the friends.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think that's the I believe that's the type of difference that we can see and between those two types of partnerships in two types of size of companies, because yes, of course, the huge companies, and they also invest a lot in partners with MDFs and etc. And I do understand that also that side, that they are putting money away and etc. And they say, oh, but if you close with us, let's work together. Of course, they need to have more. But in terms of activation, I have one take, which is when we're talking about when we're talking about partner activation. One problem is that we are always talking about we, or who's on the side, right, of activating a partner, and it's always about me. So how can I activate a partner to do this with me, to do this for me, and to do that with me, regardless the size of the company? And this I could see everywhere, and I think that's the most problematic thing in terms of why partner activation is so hard, because when you have partners that are not aligned, and when you're not aligned with what they want, and they are not aligned with what you want, it's hard to activate. And let's have another. Do you have another question from the audience? And yes, from now on, I would like also to have participation from our audience. So who's there? So Kamal, Lucas, Anthony, please join. And yes, so I have here some other questions. So let me bring one other question that we can have here. So I think that's one here that I'd like to bring this to the more to the hard side. So partnerships are built between people. Okay, no problem, Anthony. So partnerships are built between people, not logos. Is that philosophy, or is it operational?
So I don't think it's I don't think it's operational. I don't really think it's philosophical either. I mean, it's just the way those things happen, isn't it? To me, operational sounds like it's intended, it's designed that way. There's potentially a framework that fits around it. But the best partnerships I've always seen is where, you know, things are just naturally clicked together into place. and there's an understanding there. There's value that's been created. It's collaborative. It's built on trust and so on. So yeah, I'm not sure whether that's either philosophical or it's operational. It's just, it's just the state of play. And to Martin's point earlier, it doesn't always happen. And sometimes, you have to have those conversations about, is it worth us continuing in this partnership? Is it worth us walking away, or if things are working really, really well, is it worth investing further into it, doubling down on it, giving you new territories, giving you new verticals to operate in, and so on and so forth. So there's loads of different ways that a partnership can go. But yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say it was operational. There has to be investment in it from both sides, as we've already discussed. And that's the way potentially these things could work.
I would say that companies can't talk to each other. It's always human beings. Every business is people business. It's always humans interacting. And yes, we have the area of AI, but I personally don't believe that, especially in anything which is beyond consumer good, there will be anybody buying from an AI. I think we do love to look in the other guy in the eyes and feel that level of trust, because every purchase is a trust question. Even more so in partnership, where it's not a purchase, not a transaction. You want to look at the other in the eye and say, can we work together? And while ultimately, of course, we do operate as human beings, as employees or proxy for the company, ultimately, and if we don't talk, companies will not see any results. And one of the things I've seen in the past, one of the risks I also try to teach the partner managers to avoid, is one-to-one connections. So I've seen partnerships that were working decently, where on one side, the person left the job or just left the company, and all of a sudden nobody in the organization knew what's going to happen. And they say, what was the partnership about? So while of course it always are human beings who interact, the goal needs to be, and as we all discussed earlier, company goals need to be aligned. So you should be able to go beyond the one-on-one. So your marketing team ideally knows the marketing of the other company. Your sales reps know their sales reps or CS teams or whatnot. Or if it's product side, the product folks know each other, blah, 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 blah. Long, short, make sure that the people of both companies are connected beyond partner manager and partner manager.
Mm-hmm. Great. Kamal, do you have a question? Or
no question. I guess
or a comment. Yeah.
I guess more of a comment. From this question you just asked now, Redmond's answer was very much towards timing. Getting sometimes, after seeing so many partnerships, Redmond's kind of analogy was it just kind of clicked together sometimes, the best partnership. So that kind of says the timing in those environments. And the observation I'll say is, if you go to a lot of websites and partnership pages, you'll see that the logos of the ecosystem on that partnerships pages rarely change. Yes, if there's a new partner announced, you'll see a new partner added, but rarely do you see a new partner being actually removed from that ecosystem. So again, when we're speaking, I believe in what Martin said, that you need to sometimes in these partnerships, it's a trust game. You're putting your customers online and you need to look in the eye and you need to work together and build that. So maybe from the human side, the partnerships teams just find it really difficult to close a conversation or a partnership off. And that's why the 90% statistic that Martin gives is because actually the statistic is 90% of it failed, but actually 90% of those that failed 2 quarters ago or 2 seasons ago, and that conversation just died out. So like I say, more of an observation and a comment that Maybe those tough conversations of, hey, we're behind our metrics and we're going to have to remove you from a partner program don't happen as often and as openly as possible, because both partnerships need to invest into it at the end of it, so yeah, that's probably just something I'd add. Sorry, Redmond.
No, I think you raise a valid point there, and I think the reason why people are afraid to offboard a partner is because they want to leave that door open just in case somehow that partner at some point in the future comes to them with an opportunity, and they're worried that by offboarding that partner, they're never going to see that potential bit of revenue again. But what they forget in these organizations, big and small, is that there's always a management overhead in every partnership. The ones that are performing, we all understand that, but also there's an overhead in the ones that aren't performing. Okay, because senior leadership are still expecting those QBRs to happen. They're still expecting the pipeline reviews to happen. They're still expecting those informal check-ins to happen. They're still expecting reports to be pulled on certification levels and everything else like that that goes into managing the partnership, even though it's not producing anything. And realistically, is it actually ever like to produce anything? Probably not. So to my mind, those partners that should be offboarded, there needs to be an adult conversation, and it needs to be, what we'd like to do now with you, Mr. Partner, is move you into our referral program or some other similar state which requires less maintenance but might not potentially chop them out continually. Yeah, if you not continuously, sorry, completely. If you don't want to chop that partner out of your program completely, think of putting them into some kind of a lower state.
I can't count how many times I heard this. Maybe they bring something in the future. That's not the partner who drives your business. Again, coming from small organizations, again, Kamal, I think that's not even the case that they don't produce anymore. They never produced in the first place. They should not have been signed in the first place. And sometimes the reason was there because there was never proper onboarding in the first place. There was never an expectation. It was all like, hey, let's sign a partner agreement. Let's do business together. Or the worst thing in partnerships, we just trade leads. And everybody thinks, oh, that's nice. I think you bring me leads. You think I bring you leads. And nobody brings anyone any lead, both waiting that the other guy starts. Yeah. So that's, not clear expectations. Then I worked once with a client who introduced me to the term 1Cs and non-Cs. 1Cs were people who bring exactly one lead. That's the reason why they sign up in the first place. And that's fine. If you want to bring me a lead, you have a qualified lead, you want to bring it to me, I give you a one-pager, I pay you the 50% commission or whatever commission I pay if they close, but I will not onboard you as a partner. And if you bring it the second time, I pay you another time. If you then bring the third time, then I start the conversation with you. Are you sure that you're not relevant? Should we look into a better partnership conversation? The offboarding piece is like this is like the Germans putting their towels on the pool. Like, oh, I might come back and take this this particular share later in the day. No, it's not there. If you're not using it, you should not be there. And right when you said, like, I heard always like, oh, we put on our low tier, we just automate the newsletters. It's still overhead, which should be cut. And the cut can be a respectful exit conversation. And this respectful exit conversation sometimes turns out to become the starting point of a conversation which should have happened 2 quarters ago when they were signed up, but never happened. But then ask like, hey, Kamal, what were your expectations when you signed up 2 quarters ago? And you probably will tell me then, Martin, I was thinking you bring me business. And that is the latest stage where I would say, well, Kamal, honestly, I thought you would bring me business. Apparently, we didn't match our expectations. And then, we can reevaluate our expectations, or we agree to split ways. So offboarding is the most overlooked part of the partner lifecycle, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've been in so many situations that happened exactly that. So we had a great relationship with another company, with the persons of the other company, and every time we could sit in the table. So let's build a partnership. Let's see how we can do things and etc. And at the end of the day, it was always, oh yeah, this won't work. Sometimes from our side, sometimes from the other side. But at the end of the day, I have some examples of people that I have great contact in the partner ecosystem, that we have talked for many years and had nothing closed, because it was at the end of the time was that, so yeah, this won't work for me. Oh, this won't work for me. And then yes, it's as it is. But yes, I understand this point, and I think and then would not be for the partnerships team side, as Redmond said, but I think that's more related to the type of KPIs that the companies are looking, and the directory and board companies are looking in terms of partnerships. So that's why it's also hard for the company to offboard the partnerships, because if the company says, yes, we're investing a lot, but well, our partnership number is going down, and then it's probably a complication. I believe that has also a relation.
Yeah, in all the past roles which I've ever had, I've always been keen to have those, honest, frank conversations with the partners. But typically, you find that there's a VP of channel sales or a regional partner manager, or somebody who's carrying a quota somewhere, who doesn't want that partner to be offboarded for those reasons that I've quoted, and also the ones that Martin contributed as well. And so there's always that tension within the business. What do we do with this ever growing long tail of partners that are never going to do business with us, and realistically probably should never have been recruited in the first place.
But I think there's also an interesting discussion to be had, Redmond, which is about incentives, which is something we discussed also in when we were talking about the masterclass. Like the whole how organizations also organize their sales incentives can be quite, let's say, counterproductive to partnerships. And so perhaps if partnerships, and I don't know, but maybe it would be interesting to have your take, Redmond and Martin, if everything is in line. Like I look at retail, and in retail, for example, my dad has a dress shirt. In the old days, he used to pay commissions just for the ladies at the shop, at the store, then online, and then there was like the whole debate of where sales was coming from, if it was from online or from the physical store. For me, in my opinion, it's all about the business, and the business needs to go in one direction. So it doesn't matter who sold. I mean, everyone should have some sort of incentive. Like the incentive should be the same. The commission should be the same. In my opinion, there shouldn't be necessarily a difference, right? Maybe you can have different tiers, or I don't know how to structure those incentives. But I think the discussion there also, I think this whole discussion about partnerships and sales, like it happens because the incentives are different, and how they are created within the organization, which creates like a lot of noise. But
it sounds to me like what you're talking about there is sort of touching on aspects of channel conflict, or what we refer to as channel conflict, where you've got an organization that's grown up off the back of direct sales, and all of a sudden the senior leadership want to bring in some kind of a partnership function, and the account execs now see this as a tax on their business. And so senior leadership don't quite understand that actually what you need to do is you need to incentivize the sales reps to work alongside the channel, to work alongside the channel, because otherwise you'll always find pockets of resistance across an organization, people who don't believe that it takes a village to get a deal over the line. And nowadays in SaaS, the deals are so complex, with who's going to do the configuration, who's going to do the implementation, who's going to be doing the integrations, who's going to be offering all sorts of different levels of support, pre-sales, post-sales, and everything else like that. So you need to be able to incentivize your sales reps, your account execs to work and embrace the partner community, because otherwise, there's always going to be that tension there.
Just
I'm
Martin, go ahead.
very quick. Oh, sorry, Tamara, sorry.
No, please carry on. You go, please.
This is one of my favorite things, which really gets me passionate and mad. There's no such thing like channel conflict. It's literally non-existent. I was standing in a room in London in front of 150 CEOs and said the same thing. There's no channel conflict because it's not a direct deal. It's not a partner deal. It's a bloody company deal. You need to make sure that you as a company win the deal, and who is best suitable to win this deal needs to do it. The only thing which exists are broken, shitty incentive systems, which put one against the other.
Right.
So it's not a channel conflict. That's a leadership failure. That's all it's there. Yeah. The only channel conflict which might exist, which I've been seeing, was when there was an RFP, we pitched and 3 of our partners pitched, were submitted to the RFP. What we did is we priced ourselves slightly above them. We did not offer the complementing services which were requested, and we were 4 horses in the race against one of our competitors. Guess who won the RFP? Of course we did. And we didn't care which of our 3 partners did it. We just want to make sure that not the other guy wins the deal, like not our competitor. So there's no channel conflict. And Redmond, to your point, there are so many organizations out there who do not need implementation. They don't even have resellers. But if you have resellers, they expand your sales capacity, your sales service on another thing. The only reason why there's potentially a conflict is the CRO doesn't understand economics and say, oh, if the reseller closes the deal, I only get 70 instead of 100. Guess what? The 70 are pure margin, pure profit. The 100 are completely eaten up by your own CAC. Completely. And the other thing is that their sales reps have such a quota pressure, which cannot be filled from other pipeline, that they're trying to fight for the breadcrumbs on the table instead of going and bake another cake. So all comes back to massive leadership failure, period. No channel conflict. Don't tell me there's channel conflict.
Yeah, that in a nutshell is what I'll say. The people that need to understand how all this works are normally too far up the level of seniority to actually understand the fights that go on the sales floor.
Mm-hmm.
It starts earlier. Every minute, every minute, the partner person discusses with a salesperson or a marketing person whether this lead is partner sourced, marketing sourced, outbound sourced, is a minute they waste on company growth.
Correct.
And the only reason they do it is because they are measured on it, which means the systems are broken, and because they know that at the end of the year, somebody in the leadership team say, we are data-driven. They put the singular feed on the CRM and decide who gets budget and headcount. I'm not completely ignoring that we all know that in sales we have between 7 and 30 touch points, and our CRM captures 1. Good luck. Tell me data-driven. Without, crazy shit. Come on, sorry. Now I shut the fuck up.
No, you got me excited when you had the deal percentage calculation when you've got 3 partners when a total of 4 partners. You got me excited on that. Just again, a couple of points. One on yourself and one on Redmond. Maybe Redmond one first. Redmond, generally, we're looking for partnerships to fill gaps. Yep. Somebody's delivering a service, somebody's in a region, somebody's got some skills, somebody's got the solution. So, it's a partnership is a partnership. You're filling in and supporting each other. So, it is a collaboration. Martin, I totally agree. Like sales and partnerships are two really different functions and mindsets and deliverables. And if you try and build a partnerships organization with your first couple of sales guys, it's really hard to get the partnership motion because they know they're being sold to from a sales guy. So the organization needs to be responsible and confident enough to bring the partner manager in at the right time, even if they started off with a salesperson or vice versa. I see too many areas where we are trying to make salespeople do one role and the partnerships, and it's not a good way to get the trust and the collaboration going, because like Redmond said, it takes many parties to make it happen. So, you know, I see the value thing. We mustn't forget that what is the value in this partnership? Why are we all doing it? Who are, you know, how are we helping each other out? And that, you know, if we went out to Europe somewhere and we want to build a really strong, successful partnership, we'd probably increase the chance of doing that by having somebody who knows the territory rather than trying to do it from a totally different territory, somebody who's available, somebody who understands the nuances. So again, those understanding that, yes, a good sales guy can be a great partner manager, and a great partner manager will be a group. So, you know, it can be, but does that put the confidence on both parties to actually activate? Does the good salesperson go into the partner that we've just signed up and motivate everybody without saying, "I'm just after your deal"? Whereas a partner manager can say, "I'm here to help you get those deals." So yeah, I've seen many of those scenarios. So I thought I'd touch on that. It's really important to have the partner managers in at the right time to help get the success out of that, rather than continue trying to do it because it's working, because at some point it's going to come to a point that the specialist nurturing just stops, really, you know.
I think Lucas has a question, but we had a situation last year to this point, like selling a sponsorship in Brazil through someone who was influencing the deal, and it's so interesting. Like the sponsorship is not a SaaS. We just wanted to do an event, but this person had so much information on the prospect and the banks. Do you remember Gustavo? Adriana, she was helping us to get information, to talk to other people. And those things are really interesting. Like it was a sponsorship. It was not, you know, it's not a SaaS product. So in the end, like I think sales is just more complex probably nowadays, right? And in our case, we're building this international platform, and in Brazil, I would argue it's easier to influence things than in Europe and where we're trying. But it's just something that I remember now. So sorry, Lucas, go ahead.
Okay, I'm talking with partnership leaderships from IT companies, when I feel the time is about repositioning or restructuring the partnership models. They talking about M&As, and I talk about new business near to the partnership agenda. And my question is about the infratech and AI agents that is impacting the SAP, Salesforce. I think they are restructuring the strategy of partnership. And I think if you have this point of view about the changes in the global partnership strategies in the time of the AI agenda and acceleration.
So Lucas, let me just make sure I understand the question right. Are you talking about how AI is being used by some of these large scale IT corporations to replace channel managers and other talent within the channel, and what do I think that's going to mean for the industry? Is that the question?
Yes, about there are new, how can I say, verticals of partnership strategy near to the new business and M&A agenda. It's not about channels. It's near to new business, and because there are a lot of partners that develop AI agents, and I think there is my question is about if you're looking changes in the structurations of partnership verticals when in this new time.
Let me see if I understood. You're saying that nowadays with a lot of maybe smaller companies are building AI agents for different types of uses, and then that you're in your conversations that you're having with IT companies and infrastructure and infra IT companies, they are talking a lot about M&As together with partnerships. I think one thing that's I think that the point, maybe tell me if I understood correctly. I think there are many companies nowadays that are being built and developed to partner with those some of largest companies because they can be faster and they can build faster solutions for these huge companies, and their intention at the end of the day is to be acquired by these huge companies. So they
Right.
start building a partnership, so they start building products almost exclusively for solutions for Google, for SAP, for the huge companies, and they start partnering with them. But at the end of the day, the intention and what's happening in the market is that these companies are looking more to M&As. So they're being built almost to be sold.
Yeah,
It's
it's
around
about
that.
the partnership of tech-based companies
Mhm.
and founders in the different moments of the journey. And when you try to be a partner with a big ERP and the management system IT company, they will talk, oh, we are looking for the complement portfolio solutions to lock in, and you can join my ecosystem and in the partnership way. But if you are my competitor, we look to start a relations in the partnership, but we are looking to CVC or corporate venture building and to work together. And I'm observing that and asking about it because the AI agent is a 7 layer of the tech solutions in the company that will contract. And there is some types of how we can go to market together, and if have some. You talk, Gustavo, is in this way. I tell about that, and when I look these IT companies, they are implement the ecosystem thesis and they are more closed. Who can sell is the IT company. They have the vendors, they have the units, and the companies can join this ecosystem. But who will sell is the ERP company and the management system company. Is a different draw. And my question is about that. If you are looking some change in then other perspectives in these IT companies after the AI movement. Sorry to don't explain in the good way. But I think it's about that.
No problem.
I think when I was in Searchmetrics, one of the partnerships I was working on very kind of with a strategic mindset on or targeted from the founders and actually the board support was Adobe, because we were looking in that as being a potential exit candidate. So we were hoping that maybe after some years of building a partnership, they may be the ones who actually buy out the investors strategically. So I think that's nothing new and nothing with the AI stuff. I guess a lot of companies, or when I was in Searchmetrics and also in Uber, we had OEM relations with large partners, and they were both interested in taking 20% stake on the company. So in Searchmetrics, we denied that because we wanted to stay independent. On Uber, we took the 20% investment from this, what you would call CVC kind of arm, but we made sure that we still stayed independent. And I guess Germany has a tradition of the rocket internet companies where founders which were said that they were building to sell. So they pumped up stuff back in the days and then hoped that somebody else will, or the US guy will just take them over. I guess a lot of stories of this is not new, this is not AI new, that companies try to partner. I think a lot of these AI startups which you see all around the block will not survive the next 6 months, because their solution, their single point solution, will be just released from the big models themselves. And you already, I think we all know already 5-10 companies who had for 6 months they had a business model, and then ChatGPT just used that, and they did not necessarily purchase or acquire them; they just build it themselves. So for me, that's a bit of a question of like, is it even worth our time to look at these kind of businesses?
So I agree. It's not necessarily AI new. There are a lot of partners out there that are either lifestyle businesses or, like you say, they get built, they get founded and they get built for solely for the prospect of being taken over by the large vendor that they're orbiting. Quite often that happens when, for example, you've got somebody quite senior from the vendor themselves, they leave and they decide to set up a partnership type organization, and then obviously it's a very, very simple phone call for them to make. Hey, I've got this company, I can service you, I can look after your clients, I can do this, I can do that. And I've seen this happening on multiple occasions, and those individuals that set those up, they do it because basically they find that they're not actually able to have that level of freedom or autonomy within that organization that they've just left. So they decide to themselves, you know what I'm going to do? I'm in my mid-40s or I'm in my early 50s or something like that. I'm going to grow something over the next sort of 10, maybe 15 years, and then I'm going to cash out. I'm going to sell it to the vendor, and then I'm going to cash out.
Thank you. Thank you, Lucas, and thank you, Redmond. Thank you, Martin. And yes, so we are getting to the end of the session. So first and foremost, is there anything else anyone would like to add? Redmond or Martin?
No, it's been a pleasure to be here with you, Gustavo and Martin. Clearly, you and I have got very different ideas around partnerships and things like that, but I think together we make the yin and the yang for each other.
Yeah,
I think we align on many things, Redmond, but I think where the difference comes from is where our areas of expertise lie. Your background probably more with the more established, mature systems where I've had honestly no idea about, and my playground being the 0 to 0.5 versions, where the rules and the environment and run is differently. So some of the things which are absolutely working for a company like Oracle nowadays will not work for the startup and vice versa. I think also probably you're just too polite to be honest, as you told me, and I'm too honest to be polite. So that's probably where my passion comes from, being in the room with too many folks who have not been enabled to see the world with better eyes or more broader view and just looking at one thing. But it was a pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Gustavo.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you, Kamal. Thank you, Lucas. And well, thank you everyone for being here. So we'll see you in the next expert session next week. So thank you and bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Bye.